So, good evening, everyone. Today we are going to talk about new education policy, National Education Policy 2020. So, this was the need of an hour. To proceed ahead, let's begin with our session. So, NEP या education की बात करें तो ये जो NEP आया है 2020 उसमें मोदी जी ने बोला है कि अभी तक हमारी education policy में होता था what to think, but अब से हमारी education policy में होगा how to think. So this NEP 2020 has brought in new grounds, new ways of educating oneself. So it's all about reskill, it's all about upskill with this NEP 2020. So since NEP 2020 has come into force, जब से press conference बुलाकर वो release किया गया था, तब से people from different walks have been into discussion कि ये क्या है, क्या नहीं है. So here today we are with our speakers, Rohit Ji, Dean of Aurora University, CA Andrew G, and Rohan Roy. These are our three speakers today who are going to discuss about new education policy 2020. Welcome all the speakers. To begin with, let us first introduce our speakers and thereafter lot more to go. So to proceed ahead, Dr. Rohit Singh. He is the professor in marketing and dean academics at Aurora University. He has got teaching experience over 20 years. He has got credit of PhD in advertising management from Department of Commerce and Business Administration, master diploma in business administration, postgraduate degree in commerce, distinction in clearly both UGC NET and UP SLET in commerce. He loves grooming and training students in areas of financial accounting and analysis. He has published 30 papers and articles in leading international and national journals. Currently, he has designed and is working on Auro Rural Immersion Program at the university. And the list goes on. Welcome, Dr. Rohit Singh Ji. To go ahead with our next speaker introduction, CA Andrew Nadar, talking about degrees, FCA, CS, MBA, MFC, MCOM, MA, BSc, MPhil, PG, DBM, and still more pursuing. Guest speakers in some of the universities and departments. He is also an author who has written the book Flexibility and Wholesale Pricing Strategies on Financial Management. Talking about another book, it's still in process. Proceeding ahead with academics, have taught 1,000 students till now. Currently serving as a president of YMCA. He's passionate about teaching. He loves traveling and playing guitar. So welcome CA Andrew Nadar ji.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Proceeding ahead with our third speaker introduction, Rohan Roy, textile engineer and bachelor in arts. He's director at Canopus International Preschool and founder at Balaji Group of Tuitions. He has received Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Award. Further, various awards have been credited, like Canopus Preschool has received the National Education Excellence Award by National Education Human Resource Development Organization. Further, Balaji has recognized as 51 most prominent educational institutes in Gujarat. He has been the part of ICTRC Forum of School Principals. He has got experience of 15 years in the field of education. So talking about our speakers, they are versatile in their own ways. Welcome speakers. It's a pride to have you with us, and specifically to discuss about the most important topic right now, National Education Policy 2020. So before we carry on with the discussion कि भाई NEP 2020 क्या है बताएं, उससे पहले the ground is open for the speakers to please come forward and speak few lines. Proceeding ahead with Dr. Rohit Singh ji.
Thank you, Harsha. Thank you so much for introducing us to the audience. And it's my pleasure to be here on the Forum of Indian Professionals. extend my thanks to Balkishan ji, old known colleague and friend who was always there in working in the field of academics and for the betterment of the students. Also, a pleasure to meet virtually Mr. Andrews and Mr. Rohan through this panel. Just to give you a brief backdrop, what this new education policy, national education policy is. Basically, it is a national education policy, NEP, new education, a new national education policy, which was initially started in 1986, and then it later on modified in year 1992, and now after a gap of around 30 years, it has been again re-modified. And if you see the current status of this policy, the government is trying to create a platform for the education institution and the education environment to transform them into the domain of the school education and the higher education, specifically in the country with vis-a-vis the other institutions across the world. And in the basic aim of this new national education policy is to make India a global knowledge superpower. And this superpower in terms of knowledge will come on this foundation of 5 pillars, which has been specified into the policy. And these are access, affordability, accountability, equity, and quality on the part of education. The best part is there were 3 things which are most welcome into this. There is a proper integration of the progression of the students moving from pre-primary to high school level to the graduate level and to the master's level. So that is one of the best thing which the government has did in this policy. Second is they have created a credit bank where the student is free to move across the disciplines and to take certain additional domain area of knowledge as per his choice rather than as per the which is given into the program. And third most important component is that a student is free for the lateral and the vertical movement during his or her stay into the system. And from the institution point of view, where we come into picture and we are being considered as the academic administrator managing the nitty-gritty of the daily delivery of teaching learning process, the total education system is being categorized as Higher Education Commission of India, which is now being into place. That will be considered as the single umbrella body which will be taking care for all entire higher education, excluding the medical and the legal. The medical still comes under the Medical Council of India, the legal still comes under the Bar Council of India. But at the same point of time, this Higher Education Commission of India will be having 4 important verticals. And that is very important to know for the administrator like us. The first one which they have categorized is into the National Higher Education Regulatory Council. And that is onto the lines of UGC, MHRD, and AICT. And they will be basically responsible for creating a regulatory framework. The second most important component vertical which they have created is General Education Council, and that is more of a kind of setting a parameter or a standard for working into the academic setup. The third which they have created onto the lines of University Grants Commission, it is Higher Education Grants Council, which will be solely responsible for the funding process. And this funding comes for the individual teachers like us. It will come for the institutions, it will come for the trust who are working into the higher education system and the high school level also. And the fourth one, which still exists, is the National Accreditation Council, NAC, for accreditation of the higher education institutions. So if you see UGC, Government of India has very categorically defined what are the various roles of the Higher Education Commission of India by giving them the 4 wings. Now, if you see the categorization of these wings, they were already there. So, for example, a student who is pursuing his CA and he or she wants to pursue a CPA, then and there comes the challenge in terms of the monetary benefit which he or she wants to get from the government side of view. So, if you go to the MHRD website or the University Grants Commission website, they have a lot of scholarships available, and candidates can apply to those scholarships and they can move. But before this national education policy, there were a lot of ifs and buts which were applied there. But now when you see the progression is very much easy because it has defined the lateral movement of the students moving from one program to the other. So this is the most important change which they have brought. And the best part is we always said that our education system is integral and holistic, which was not, because we were moving towards a specific stream and domain area knowledge only. But now with this new national education policy, I firmly believe that now we are moving towards the what you call universalization of education system, from the school to the higher education at the same point of time, they have created a need which was there already. They fulfill that need of long standing demand for providing holistic education. So that is the most welcome step. And apart from quality, accessibility, they are also focusing upon how to bring the practical orientation through research into the domain of higher education, into the teaching learning process. And that I feel is a very welcome step, because till date, to be very honest, though we in higher education we keep focus on that faculty members should go for research, so there is a mention of research, but no provision for research. Now this new education policy had created a lot of provision for research, and that is one of the most welcome sign. Apart from that, one other common factor, then I will stop for the other speakers to take forward, is that they are also going to create a uniform assessment system. And if you read the document in detail, the uniform assessment system which they have mentioned is PARAK. And it stands for Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. And it is very categorically again saying that the teachers will also be evaluated on the parameters of holistic development which they are going to provide through the assessment, through the analysis, through the review, which they are going to provide to the student. So I pause myself and then look forward for much more questions and observations from Harsha also. Thank you, Harsha.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, CA Andrew G, please proceed ahead with few lines.
Okay, first of all, a very warm good evening to all of you. And at the onset, I would like to first thank the organizers. I would like to thank Balkishan sir, always a forerunner of the chartered accountancy profession and our institute and fraternity from the region. And I would like to thank Harsha ma'am also for combinedly organizing a topic which is actually the need of the hour today. And I would like to thank Rohit sir. Sir, बहुत ही अच्छे से आपने you have given a very good apt introduction. And in a nutshell, you have, in short, covered up entire what is NEP. We are touching all the highlights. You have already touched it. So I would look at it from some other angle, because Rohit sir has already said some of the details, the vital points. What does PARAK stand for, and what is the structure? How is it going to be implemented? How is it going to give an holistic approach, a holistic development to the students, has already been very well covered up by Rohit sir. So I would look at it from some other point of view, and that is education, primarily speaking, is one of the foundation for the future of the nation. As we all know that India is fighting with various different types of problems, some economic problems, some social problems, and the root cause lies in illiteracy. Because the people are not literate, or maybe the people are not aware, that is the reason why these all problems, they sometimes accumulate. So it was a very good step from the cabinet that the new education policy has been introduced, a reformation has been created. But as I always believe, a good plan is a good plan only if it is implemented in the best possible way. So we all pray and we all wish that it has to be implemented in the best possible way. One good thing that I observed is government ने काफी seriously लिया है ये मुद्दे को, and अभी तक के बजट में जितना भी allocation होता था उससे highest allocation the government has done, and that is approximately the government is aiming for a 6% allocation of the total GDP towards this. Earlier it was specifically speaking something about 4.43 tha, and 6% was a recommended policy in the year 1968. But then it was envisaged, but it was not implemented. So currently, if I observe the budget of India from the macroeconomical point of view, around 3 to 4% का allocation होता था. 6% superb, it's a welcome move. और constitutional point of view से बात करें तो government ने सिर्फ ये policy को central list, that is union list या state list में नहीं लिखा है. They have kept it in the concurrent list. Right. So together with the combined effort of the central government and the state government, अगर एक 6% allocation of the budget अगर आता हो, so it will really create a big arena for the public sector to enter into the field of education, so that there can be a one nation, one tax already India में आया है, one nation, one Aadhaar card जैसे already India में आया है, वैसा one nation, one education इसके तरफ हम बढ़ रहे हैं. So there will be a uniformity that can be seen. The next welcome move that I could see was एक multi-discipline के तरफ हम बढ़ रहे हैं. So it's a multidisciplinary field, but again pooling of the subjects अभी तक आए नहीं हैं, they have not yet been declared. So ऐसा कहीं, because it's a double-edged sword, एक दो-धारी तलवार है जो subject select करेगा child. So with the combined effort of the parents, the teachers, experts and the students' knowledge and his wisdom and his talent, the right choice of subjects has to be done, or it might not act against. So that is one again thing, because it is something related to the future. And one good thing that I like is vocational education, all round development. एक 6th स्टैंडर्ड का स्टूडेंट 10 दिन विदाउट बैग अगर एजुकेशन के लिए जा रहा है, he will learn some soft skills, he will learn some good different point of education in the different arena जो books के अंदर covered नहीं है. जैसा मैं हमेशा से कहता हूँ, literacy exists within the books, but knowledge and wisdom exist outside the book. तो शायद ये जो बाहर के टॉपिक्स हैं ये भी शायद अभी इंक्लूड हो जाएंगे, एंड उसका जो रिजल्ट है वो प्योर लर्निंग बेस्ड नहीं होगा. There will be a 360-degree evaluation of the result. उसके soft skills के ऊपर, other different every child is different. तो उनके जो plus points हैं उसके ऊपर उसका assessment किया जाएगा. There will be a peer-to-peer assessment, teacher assessment. So these are some of the good things. And जैसे रोहित सर ने rightly कहा है, not only this system is a transformation for the students but also for the teachers. So now the teachers who are actually a very strong, they play a pivotal role in the establishment of students. Even for them, there will be a transformational phase, there will be a transitional phase. So overall, it is going to be good. And इसके आगे हम दूसरे topics पाएंगे हर्षा मैम, where we shall be discussing about the college education. जैसे credit कैसे इन लोगों को मिलेगा, जैसे structure कौन सा है, उसके ऊपर we can discuss later on. But to conclude my topic, I would like to tell, it is a welcome move, but it has to be implemented at the grassroots level very strongly. Then only we can dream to have an education system. Then only we can have a cost output ratio of the part of the GDP that the government is putting. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, Rohan Roy, we would like to please come ahead and speak few lines, and then we'll start with still more discussions. Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, good evening, everyone. I feel I am blessed to be talking in such a wonderful panel, where I would like to first greet Mr. Dr. Rohit Singh sir and C. Andrew Nadar sir. Both have said wonderfully. A big thank you to Balkishan ji sir for inviting me, and also to the backbone of every discussion, our dear moderator Harsha Gangwani Narang ma'am. And last but not the least, but the most important, lovely students and the audience who play the major role over here in all the programs we have. Next, very importantly, दोनों sirs ने इतना सारा कुछ बताया. आज सुबह जब मैं न्यूज़ देख रहा था, नरेंद्र मोदी जी का स्पीच था, तो उसमें उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से कहा था कि value will be given to curiosity and imagination, right? So values to be given to curiosity and imagination rather than rote learning and herd community, right? So बहुत पहले बहुत अच्छे से बाबा रणछोड़ दास ने कहा था, right? कि सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो, एक्सेलेंस के पीछे भागो, सक्सेस झक मार के आएगी. So वही चीज है जो हमारा NEP लेकर आ रहा है, and I truly believe we have a wonderful future ahead.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rohan sir. तो बहुत ही अच्छे से स्पीकर्स ने हाईलाइट दिए हैं अबाउट NEP 2020, और एंड्री जी ने साथ में ये एड ऑन किया कि ये वेलकमिंग जोन है, वेलकम एरा है, लेकिन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम इसको ग्राउंड रूट लेवल से इम्प्लीमेंट करें, ग्रास रूट लेवल से इम्प्लीमेंट करें. तो टू स्टार्ट विद द डिस्कशन फर्दर, बेस से शुरू करते हुए सी एंड्रू जी, पहले जो हमारा स्ट्रक्चर था 10+2 था, लेकिन अब जो स्ट्रक्चर आ चुका है वो 5+3+3+4 है. तो टू स्टार्ट विद दिस, की स्ट्रक्चर में क्या चेंज है, आप प्लीज इस पे थोड़ा बताइए, इसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ 5+3+3+4. Yes, CA Andrew.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So, dear students and dear members, I would like to first answer the question asked by Harsha ma'am. Existing system जो अभी हमारा है और जो proposed system है, वो उसमें difference क्या है करके हम देख लेते हैं. तो 10+2 है, उसे directly 5+3+3+4 के साथ हम कंपेयर नहीं करेंगे, बिकॉज ये जो 5-3-3-4 है दैट इज फ्रॉम द नर्सरी लेवल, और जो 10+2 है दैट इज फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड लेवल. तो अपेरेंटली जिन लोगों ने न्यूज सबसे पहले सुना, उन लोगों ने इमीडिएटली दे टोल्ड के अभी 10th 12th का बोर्ड एग्जाम हट गया, 11th स्टैंडर्ड में बोर्ड एग्जाम आएगा और 4 साल का कॉलेज हो जाएगा. बिकॉज उन्होंने क्या सोचा वो 5+3+3+4 में उन्होंने 5-3-3 दे केप्ट इट एज 11 years एंड देन उसके ऊपर कॉलेज को जोड़ा है. दैट इज एक्चुअली रॉन्ग. वो जो 5 है दैट इज फ्रॉम द नर्सरी लेवल. तो ये जो 10 वाला जो है वो 10 के नीचे भी अंडरग्राउंड में 3 years जाएगा. सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट फैक्ट. तो जो ओल्ड सिस्टम हम जो 10+2 बोल रहे हैं वो एक्चुअली देखने जाए तो इट इज 3+10+2. सो कंपेयरिंग टू दैट, in the new education policy इन्होंने 4 लेवल में they have divided the entire education pattern of school into 4 parts, 5-3-3-4. तो ये जो 5-3-3-4 है, इसमें इसको बताने से पहले whenever a new policy is introduced, the government, the ministry, the HRM, they keep objectives. We know very well. हम जब गाड़ी शुरू करेंगे तो हमें पता रहना चाहिए कि where are we going to go. So the basic approach, there was a 4-tier approach that the government had, and that should be the learning experience should be number 1, holistic. It should be holistic. You should not have only a narrow-minded coverage of the subject. You should have a wide range of subjects. Number 2, it has to be integrated. Integrated with the other states, integrated with the other boards, and integrated with the other nations. So number 1, the learning experience should be holistic. It should be integrated. It should be enjoyable. This is what students they love. हमें पढ़ाई करना मजा आना चाहिए. You know, अचानक से स्टूडेंट थक के स्कूल से घर पे आया है, उसको आप ऐसा कहिए चलो बैट लेके क्रिकेट खेलने जाते हैं, हर एक के अंदर का सचिन विराट जाग जाएगा. पर अगर उसको ऐसा कहेंगे कि चलो थोड़ी बुक लेके पढ़ाई करने जाते हैं, नहीं मुझे नींद आ रही है, I want to sleep, I want to eat. So the third part that the government thought was we want to make the education system enjoyable because today's children are tomorrow's future. And the fourth part, to make it more engaging and engaging in a productive way. Because kahin na kahin nowadays if you see, the youth is being diverted from their main task. Kuch galat cheezein which are coming up due to technology, because you know technology is always a two-edged sword. So these are the 4 parameters which the government thought. Education should be holistic, it should be integrated, it should be enjoyable, and it should be engaging. It should engage the student from all the point of view. तो इसके बेसिस पे 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया है. पार्ट नंबर 1 इज नोन एज द फाउंडेशनल स्टेज. नाउ फाउंडेशनल स्टेज कंप्राइजेस ऑफ 5 years. इसमें 3 हो गए नर्सरी, उसके बाद हो गया जूनियर, उसके बाद सीनियर, एंड देन द फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड एंड द सेकंड स्टैंडर्ड. इनको फाउंडेशनल स्टेज करके नाम रखा है. एंड गवर्नमेंट हैज नॉट मेड इट कंपल्सरी, पर गवर्नमेंट ने एक इंपॉर्टेंस दिया है टू द रीजनल लैंग्वेज, के स्टडीड इन द रीजनल लैंग्वेज. So उसमें एक एडवांटेज है. And to the audience, I would like to just inform you one more thing. India is among the rare nations where a child knows more than 2 languages. अभी जितने ऑडियंस हैं आप में से भी काफी सारे लोग ऐसे होंगे जिन्हें you might be knowing maybe Gujarati, maybe Hindi you might be knowing, English भी आता हो, या अगर कोई माइग्रेंट्स साउथ इंडिया से गुजरात में आया है तो गुजराती, हिंदी, एक साउथ इंडियन लैंग्वेज, इंग्लिश. So we know 3 to 4 languages which the European nations or America they miss out. They sometimes have the advantage of only 1 or 2 language. तो वो regional language को importance दिया है. And government ने foundational stage में 3 main introduction किया है. The education should be flexible, it should be multi-level, and it should be more based on playing rather than more based on opening the books. तो dear audience, ये हो गया पहला stage जिसे हम कहते हैं the foundational stage. Foundational stage के बाद the second stage the government has launched, that is the preparatory stage. Preparatory stage is of 3 years, and ये 3 years में textbooks introduce होंगे, but lighter versions of the textbooks. It will not be introduced as a very heavy bombarding thing. ऐसा नहीं रहेगा. Light versions of textbook रहेंगे, classroom learning रहेगा, but government has given an important interactive classroom learning rahega. Education will not be a one-way traffic from now onwards, it will be a two-way traffic. Then solid groundwork base will be provided, and the subjects that government has introduced in the preparatory stage are reading, writing, speaking, physical education, art, languages, basic science, that is play, experimental science कहते हैं इसको, जैसे experiment करके उनको सिखाया जाता है. जैसे स्टूडेंट को ये नहीं बताया जाता कि 1665 में सर आइजैक न्यूटन ने लाइट कैसे रिट्रैक्ट करता है, वो सब नहीं बताया जाएगा. उनको सिर्फ एक प्रिज्म बताया जाएगा, एक बाजू से दे विल बी गिवन द टॉर्च लाइट ऑफ व्हाइट कलर एंड सामने से विबग्योर निकलेगा 7 कलर्स. मतलब दे विल बी टॉट साइंस इन अ playful way and basic mathematics. So this is the preparatory stage of 3 years. इसके बाद द गवर्नमेंट हैज लॉन्च्ड द थर्ड स्टेज, 5+3+3+4 का सेकंड 3, एंड दैट इज द मिडल स्टेज. मतलब 3 years. Now before to the middle stage, ये सबसे क्रूशियल स्टेज है, सबसे मैक्सिमम फोकस ये स्टेज पे दिया गया है. Now there is a psychological concept. If a person wants to learn something new, which is very, which is a new system, 1000 days are required minimum, ऐसा कहा जाता है. जैसे हम बिजनेस भी शुरू करते हैं तो ऐसा कहा जाता है 1000 days का एक gestation period होता है, 3 years का gestation period होता है, to understand the cycle completely. So government has kept that psychological point also, because कोई भी स्टेज अगर हम देखें तो 3 से कम के नहीं है. चलो, तो now let's come to the middle stage. Middle stage will be the curriculum style, and NCERT along with some other bodies are given the responsibility to make the framework of the portion. Subjects का pooling अभी तक introduce हुआ नहीं है, और यहाँ पे learning and discussion based approach होगा. So कहीं ना कहीं I can see that this is resembling to the Norwegian education system of North Europe. तो वो discussion based education system होता है उन लोगों का. And जितने subjects already थे, उसके साथ 2 additional subjects the government is launching, and both of them are my personally favorite subjects, social science and humanities. So that means a 6th grade student is going to study humanities. और अगर मान लो humanities में moral science, moral behavior, etiquettes, ethics, अगर moral values दिए जाएं, तो who knows, very positively speaking, maybe in the coming decade the crime rate will go down. Because जैसे education system strong होता है, अगर education system is giving moral values, crimes automatically go down. And then experimental learning or subject specialization will be emphasized. तो ये है third stage. And coming to the last stage, Harsha ma'am, secondary stage जिसे हम कहते हैं, secondary stage में they have introduced a beautiful word, multidisciplinary subjects. Means government will give you the pooling. We have to select which all subjects do we want to study with a major and a minor. But ये बहुत ही critical step है, because here the right choice has to be made by the student. नहीं तो ऐसा नहीं हो जाए कि you are jack of all trades and master of none. हर एक सब्जेक्ट को थोड़ा थोड़ा टेस्ट कर लिया डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द चॉइस, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. कुछ चीजें अगर टफ है तो उसे टफ होनी ही चाहिए, बिकॉज दैट टफनेस मेक्स यू टफ.
Right.
Okay, a carbon cannot complain that I am being polished, because ultimately it is going to be made into a diamond. So more flexibility and choice of the student in subject selection will be given. So this is the concluding line I would like to tell. Overall, एक character building पे थोड़ा importance दिया है government ने. So 5-3-3-4 is foundational stage of 5 years, nursery, junior, senior, first and second, preparatory stage of 3 years, third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard. इसको ready to fly कहते हैं, मतलब the child is now given the wings, so he is ready to fly. फिर middle stage, and that is 3 years, and then we have the secondary, the last stage, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, where the student is mature enough to understand his choices, what are good for him and what are not. So age के demography को ध्यान में रखते हुए ये 5-3-3-4 का system आया है मैम. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. आपने बहुत अच्छे से ये foundation, preparatory and ready to fly को explain किया है. Now let's proceed ahead. I would like to ask Rohit ji, Dr. Rohit Singh ji, to please come forward and explain कि जो 5+3+3+4 का स्ट्रक्चर है और बहुत कुछ है इसमें, बट अभी एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बुला के यूनियन कैबिनेट ने इसको NEP 2020 को बाहर लाए हैं. हाउ एंड बाय व्हेन दिस विल बिकम लॉ, और वो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कब से होगा, और इसके लिए आगे और स्टेप्स क्या करने बाकी है कि ये पॉलिसी लॉ बन जाएगा. So, Dr. Rohit Singh ji.
Okay, thank you so much, Harsha, and very well explained by the Andrew ji for the basic level progression for the student from pre-primary to the secondary level. If you see the education system per se today, the student moves from 10+2, which Andrew ji has explained, and then they move to +3. So 10+2+3. So if you see the current policy, it is 5+3+3+4, and I will put it again +3. So they are now moving to a graduation study, and there the graduation study is subject to the specialization which a student has taken in the class 12th. So for example, and it is prevalent in 90% of the students. So if a student has taken class 12 with commerce, it's being assumed that he or she will go to BCom, BBA, and if nothing falls into picture, BA.
Right.
And that is the last option for him.
Right.
But now when you see the policy, and there is a cross movement which has been emphasized upon. And this cross movement is that first of all, coming back to your question, that how the progression will happen. So if a student is already into his BCom second year, for him, this policy is no longer what you call attractive enough, because he still has to cover his third year as per the old suggestion, number one. Number two, the policy has already been approved by the cabinet and government has already made it as a policy suggestion. It has been working since last 2 years, where the government has invited suggestions from at least 2,25,000 people across the country, including from primary level to the higher education institution people, and asked them for their suggestion. If I have to say how the institutions like us are going to move, 2 years back, Government of India and the Government of Gujarat also emphasized upon that institutions should focus upon choice-based credit system. Now, when you move towards the choice-based credit system, it means you have to study few minimum papers as foundation course. Then you need to move towards more specialized paper. We call it major papers. And if you want to have a cross-disciplinary knowledge, then you have to move towards the minor paper. So what does this mean? Suppose if I go into an undergrad class, and in the current scenario, if I take BA Liberal Arts, suppose, and I say, okay, fine, I want to study liberal arts. In liberal arts, I will try to see whether I can go with psychology, political science, and sociology together. So current system doesn't allow. But what does current system allow? That, okay, in first year, you can study the basic of English, basic of Hindi, basic of Sanskrit, basic of political science, sociology, geography, history, whatever it is. When you move to the second year, you can go for a specialized major. And suppose I decide my major is psychology. And then psychology major says, I need to study clinical psychology, I need to study industrial psychology, I need to study child psychology, I need to study counseling psychology, and many others. And then I say, this psychology cannot be understood very well if I am not going to study sociology. So psychology becomes my major, sociology becomes my minor. Now, while studying both sociology and psychology, candidates said that both these are good for me, but I also want to study English. Now, this is not possible now. Because my system, my structure says you studied foundation in the first year, you move towards the specialization as a major, and then you move towards a minor also. Major and minor can combine together and go parallelly. But now you cannot move to the second major or minor or the third minor. This is where the universities like Flame, Ashoka, Shivnadar, Jindals are now coming into vogue, because they are giving this cross-discipline movements. The biggest challenge which a university and education institution face at this point of time to give this cross-discipline movement is the qualified teachers. So they don't have teachers, so they don't offer the specialization. As simple as that. So point is, what is a student going to gain? A student is only going to gain the given set of structure. With this policy, government has made it very clear, you cannot stop a student from attaining the cross movements and the lateral movements in any of the subject specialization which he or she is willing to do. So what is this model now, when it will come into picture? So for example, if I am having 25 teachers into my School of Liberal Arts, it means I have to increase the strength to around 70 faculty members. And when I say 70, it means from ABCD to Z, all the subject teachers should be in the campus. And then we offer as an elective to all the students and say, fine, you can go and choose the subject which you want. So there is a possibility in my paper, there 4 students will come, in Andrew's paper, there will be 20 students will come, and in Balkishanji's paper, there will be 5 students coming again. But at the end of the progression, means at the end of the years, first year, second year, third year, I have defined, okay, total you need to take at least 30 credits. So it is up to me as a student, whichever combination I am going to take to make it 30. Rather than institution is defining me, this 30 should be A, B, C, D, N, E, which the current system is. So the biggest movement which an education institution now has to do is to cater to the requirement of cross-discipline, multidisciplinary approach, where they need to bring into the different notions of the different subject areas and offer it to the students as their choices rather than as a choice of the institution. So this is the biggest shift. Second shift which is going to come is, obviously the student who are going to come now in 21, 22, for them it is the biggest advantage. I give you one example. So a student who completes his BCom from, suppose, Venus Jew or Oro University, and he or she is willing to go to USA to study the higher education. When he is taking an admission, the education system in US says 10 plus 2 plus 4, Indian system says 10 plus 2 plus 3. And then say, okay, fine, you are going to get admission, but you need to score 40 more credits during your stay for next 2 years. A student feel very happy that they got an admission, but actually the course which is for 1 year, now you are going to do it for 2 years to match the credit. So they are going additionally 1 year over there to get the additional credits before they are qualified to go into the master program, because in US the master program is for 1 year or 18 months. So a student is spending a time and a money in order to match that credit. With this new national education policy, now this is going to be possible in India also, where the student can have an additional credits and map to the total requirement which is there. So this is the biggest shift which an education institution has to do today now, and they have to take into consideration that this is not going to be the small shift. It is going to be the next leap, you can say, in higher education, where a structural changes, the policy framework, the credit movements, the changes in the pedagogy, the changes in the curriculum will have to be brought into picture in order to make this policy effective. As Andrew said, policy may be very good. If its implementation is not sufficient, it will not lead to the fruitful result. So I believe the onus is now being given to the higher education institution, where they need to take in the letter and the spirit of this policy and implement the suggestion by them. So that is what I feel, Harsha, is going to be the great challenge for the education institution, to map the progression of the students into this new education policy system.
Right. Thank you, sir. So I suppose all the students and the viewers have got an idea कि अब if they shift from one degree to other degree, or if they plan to go to the abroad universities, अब उनके वो पहले जो किया हुआ credentials count होंगे. Thank you so much, sir. Proceeding ahead with Rohan Roy, sir. Sir, looking up to these changes, Andrew sir ने रोहित सिंह जी सर ने बात करी है about the changes, जिसमें एक चेंज की मैं बात करूं तो it is about 360 degree जो highlight किया गया है, 360 degree progress report, and similarly some talks about practical approach. So Rohan Roy sir ji, please come forward and elaborate about 360 degree progress report and the practical understanding through the internship program. How would you elaborate its understanding to our audience?
Right. Somewhere I believe this 360 degree assessment system is the most valuable part of the whole NEP. It is like till date, it was the teachers who were supposed to evaluate the child, right? So say any subject, mera exam hua, it is my teacher who will be evaluating me. In this 360 degree, it will be not only the teachers, but also you yourself. So you are also given the rights to evaluate own self, right? Also your classmates, right? Also your friends, they are given the chance to evaluate you. So ये बहुत ध्यान में रखना कि हर दोस्तों के साथ अच्छे से बना के रखना, jokes apart, and also the parents, right? So you know, it will be not any one person who would be doing this, but you yourself, your teacher, your friends, your parents. So एक holistic evaluation होता है. It is not only the academics but also the projects you do. वो भी matter करता है. अगर grade कम आते हैं या ज़्यादा आते हैं, right? So if in case I have a very lesser grade which remarks के I fail, right? So अब वो जबरदस्ती मुझ पे थोपा नहीं जाएगा कि मैं fail ही हूँ, right? Now I have all the rights to decide myself, along with my parents, with my friends, and with my teacher, right? If I wish to continue with the next standard, I will be given that chance. If I wish to repeat, I will be given that chance too. And if I wish to reappear the exam, वो भी किया जाएगा, right? So हर चीज, मतलब जो बच्चा कमजोर है, फेल हो गया और वो नेक्स्ट ईयर जाना ही चाहता है, वो रिपीट नहीं करना चाहता है, the only big deal would be कि vacations में उनके लिए summer classes arrange किए जाएंगे जिसमें वो सारी चीजों को prepare करेंगे आगे, right? But at least एक fail का mark किसी को नहीं मिलेगा. So this is what is all about 360-degree assessment, in which you yourself, your teacher, your friends, your parents, everybody participates to evaluate you. And I believe this is the most wonderful part. एक डर हट जाता है मन से. You be more confident, you be more courageous while everything, while studying, while appearing exams. So depression, nervousness, ये सारी चीजें दिमाग से हट जाती हैं. So वो fail होने का डर ही हट जाता है. I believe this is the best part of thing. डर हटना किसी भी चीज में सबसे अच्छी चीज होती है.
Right. So about friends, about yourself, teachers, everyone is going to now assess your own results. आप खुद, आपके दोस्त, आपके parents, आपके teachers. So yes, a wonderful thing. And I would like Rohan sir to continue along with the practical aspect as highlighted by Rohit sir and sir.
Right. Sorry, can you please get back?
The practical aspect, say one such information which I've heard about NEP 2020 is about
internship. Right.
Yes.
हाँ. So you know what? Say अगर हम जब school में होते हैं, you know, I had a lot of fascinations. It was sometime I wanted to be an architect. कभी डॉक्टर को देखते थे तो मन करता था डॉक्टर भी बन जाए. But somewhere I truly believe कि आज मैं एक टीचर हूँ तो वही शायद बेस्ट हूँ, right? So you know, class 6 onwards, you get an opportunity to join internships. Say traffic police में मैं internship कर सकता हूँ. Say architecture में मैं internship कर सकता हूँ. So there are a lot of areas where I can go. I can explore, learn more, and to be truly speaking, I myself did my diploma in textiles. When I went for my internship after completing 3 years of my college, I would say hardly, not only for me, but about my all friends, कि हम 10% पे थे after doing the whole degree course, diploma course, right? ज़्यादातर सीखना internship में ही possible होता है. I would not say मैंने scratch से शुरू किया वहाँ जाके, but 10 से शुरू किया. पढ़ना भी जरूरी था तो शायद और जल्दी सीखे. But internship from class 6 will give you opportunity to explore more and more areas, to know yourself better, अपना aptitude पहचानना, judge करना. And I have students who have done engineering in computers. Later, after doing a whole 4-year program, she realized that she has a curiosity over designing. So she did interior designing course. And now she is a wonderful designer, interior designer today. One of my students, he did engineering in mechanicals. But उसका हमेशा से ही dance करना और इन्हीं सब चीजों का शौक था. But पूरा करने के बाद he did his course in event management. So आज वो event management का course कर रहा है, dance की academy चला रहा है. So you know what? अगर ये चीजें after 12.
Rohan sir, you are muted.
At the age of 20, 22, 23, you realize that it is better you start realizing it from class 6 onwards, right? So ये जो practical learning है, ये जो methods हैं, these are somewhere very important for the academic system, for any student, for any child to evaluate own self, not only in terms of result or report card, but also in terms of own aptitude and judge what he could do best or what he would love to do, what he is passionate about.
Right.
Thank
you. Right. Thank you, Rohan sir, for describing about the importance of practical understanding. जो 12th के बाद की जगह NEP 2020 में 6th standard से दी जाएगी, and the students will be able to explore more about their areas. Moving ahead with one such more interesting thing which has come up to is coding. So Andrew G, can you please come forward to explain about coding? क्योंकि coding अब 6th standard से शुरू हो चुका है. So with this digitization, with this online world which has come into picture specifically more and more.
Yes, ma'am. On coding, what I would like to tell is, generally it is observed always that children, especially those who are in the single digit age, are fast learners, are very quick learners. whether it comes to technology or it comes to languages or it comes to some other skills or it comes to molding something. They are far more, they are more sound when it comes to learning something new. आज एक 5 साल के बच्चे को मोबाइल उतना ज्यादा ऑपरेट करने आता होगा जितना शायद एक 60 इयर्स के पर्सन को शायद ऑपरेट करना नहीं आता होगा. एंड जैसे जैसे एज बढ़ती है, कोडिंग मेन लाने का एक साइकोलॉजिकल रीजन ये था क्योंकि कोडिंग में यू रिक्वायर लॉट ऑफ क्रिएटिविटी. अ लॉट ऑफ क्रिएटिविटी इज रिक्वायर्ड इन कोडिंग बिकॉज देयर आर मिलियंस ऑफ परम्यूटेशंस एंड कॉम्बिनेशंस दैट कैन बी डन इंटरनली. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस, जैसे जैसे एक स्टूडेंट की एज बढ़ती है, वी मोर
Andrew sir, please unmute yourself. It happens. Yeah.
More or less, when we enter into the particular, when we become big, when a student enters into college, adulthood, हम बहुत ज्यादा सिस्टम को फॉलो करने लगते हैं. we don't think out of the box. We are a part. भाई ऐसा सोचना होता है तो ऐसे ही आपको सोचना पड़ेगा. You cannot think out of the box. You are given a particular rhythm how to think, and you need to fall into the rhythm because of peer pressure, parent pressure, career pressure. So you know that creativity is killed. But a student of 6th standard, coding दो रीजन से लाया गया है. रीजन नंबर 1, that is the right age for a student to start learning technology. Reason number 2, nowadays if you look around us, everything is in the digital platform. Everything is digital format. You call it as a banking, you call it as the insurance sector, or maybe you talk about shopping, or you talk recently about education. Everything there has been a paradigm shift, and now we are moving towards more and more use of technology. Now, एक Consumer Protection Act के अंदर लिखा गया है, if a consumer should not be exploited, he should be educated, he should be literate, he should know about his rights and duties. तो कहीं ना कहीं कोडिंग सिखाने से एक एडवांटेज ये होगा कि they will be well aware of all the digitization that is happening nearby. So इसके वजह से क्या होगा, they will be well versed in using the websites or mobile applications. And the second reason which the government has thought is, in a later stage, this will generate a lot of employment opportunities from the macroeconomical point of view. Because this is the peak sector. जैसे हर एक डिग्री या हर एक क्वालिफिकेशन या हर एक स्किल का एक अपवर्ड मूवमेंट आता है. एक टाइम था जब आईटी इंडस्ट्री का अपवर्ड मूवमेंट आया था. ग्लोबलाइजेशन के बाद जैसे कॉमर्स का अपवर्ड मूवमेंट आया है, एंड नाउ टेक्नोलॉजी का अपवर्ड मूवमेंट चल रहा है, डिजिटाइजेशन का अपवर्ड मूवमेंट चल रहा है. तो the students, the children of this country should not lag behind to the students of the other nation. Who knows, we can generate a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs within our country as well, and that also at a childhood stage. अगर हम अमेरिका में देखें तो there are so many patents about technology which are held by children. फिर वेदर वो कोई नया डिवाइस बनाना हो, कुछ इंप्लीमेंट करना है, कुछ नया मैन्युफैक्चर करना है, it is held by children. So this clearly shows us one fact that children are quick learners. So this is the reason why coding has been introduced. Now, the threats, these are the advantages. The threats. अगर कोडिंग सिखाना है तो there has to be a right method of teaching coding. That is very much necessary. Even in the rural areas, in the urban areas, in the metropolitan cities, हर एक जगह पे एक parlance का आना. There has to be equality amongst wherever it is being taught. Now it has to be seen whether government is going to teach the coding to the students within the school, or whether they are going to outsource it to some of the technological companies that we are having. Even that is a good case. If we see in the last 5 years, we have had a lot of public-private partnerships. So government can probably enter into a public-private partnership with maybe TCS or Wipro or Infosys. They might be practically implementing and teaching coding to the students. So internship भी हो जाएगा और उनको एक corporate exposure भी एक young age में they will be able to get that. So this is the ultimate advantage that the government is aiming for. Along with the bookish education, they also want to develop the technical skills. That is the reason why coding is given a lot of importance. Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for the explanation. Rohit Singh ji, we would like to know from you. आपने highlight किया था about कि अब 40 teachers की जगह 70 teachers होंगे, and of course the qualifications of teachers as well. So, Dr. Rohit Singh ji, there will be changes in the qualifications or criteria for individual to become the teacher henceforth. Say for example, as of now it was B.Ed. So what such more changes you project looking up to the changes in qualifications of teachers?
So basically, if you see the new national education policy, they have emphasized upon that all the faculty members who are going to be recruited by 2025 or by 2021 and 22, they all should have completed their PhD. And this is, I'm talking about the faculty members who are going to be recruited into the higher education system. Okay.
Right.
Number one. Number two, with reference to B.Ed, if you see the B.Ed qualification, which was earlier there, it was only for 1 year,
Right.
which people can do after their graduation. So they complete their graduation. If they have done BSc, they go for a B.Ed with science. If they have completed BA, they go with BA with history and other thing. If they have completed BCom, they can do B.Ed with commerce, and they land up into teaching. But the B.Ed teaching was restricted only till class 12th. So if you want to become a teacher in a high school or into an intermediate college, you have to have a B.Ed. That is one thing.
Right.
If you're moving towards the university and the higher education system, it is mandatory now that by 2022, people should have completed their PhD. And the other rider which is there is that a individual candidate who has not completed his PhD but has qualified University Exams Commission NET examination, then they can also become an assistant professor into the higher education system. And once you become an assistant professor with your UGC qualification, then chances are that within 3 to 4 years, you have to complete your PhD. Otherwise, your promotion will be restricted. So the essential qualification for a person entering into the higher education system is, one is either you should be a UGC NET or you should have completed your PhD. So these are related to higher education and B.Ed for till class 12th. So now the change which is happening is, they are saying now it is going to be mandatory that without PhD, you should not be appointed as an assistant professor in the education or university system, higher education. And B.Ed now is going to be for 4 years. And they have said that this B.Ed will become an integrated B.Ed. So it means once you complete your 3rd year of your graduation degree, there is a possibility then you need to decide at a point of time that you need to move towards the B.Ed program. To be very honest, some 3 years back, Auro University was trying to bring B.Ed in education, in integral education, and on the philosophy on which this Auro University is based. And here the integral education means the student has a 4 components to learn from. Our education system as on date is totally based on mental education. We are focusing upon there are 4 aspects of education. One is the mental, the physical, the vital, which we call it emotional, and the 4th one is the spiritual education. All these 4 dimensions needs to be integrated into a curriculum to make a candidate to move towards a holistic curriculum. And now this national education policy is saying that we have to have a 360-degree framework where a candidate has to decide their own course and their own curriculum trajectories in order to define their movement based on their aptitude and interest. So now you will see the students are the deciding factor in their progression. Earlier it was the university or the education system which was the deciding factor in the progression. So this is the big shift happening in the higher education with reference to the student progression.
Right, right. Thank you so much, sir. So teachers, though you have entered into the teaching world, but I suppose it is important, as said by Rohit Singh ji, sir, that you need to have a PhD specifically for higher education as you are going ahead. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to ask Rohan, sir, about Sanskrit as a language. एक ये भी कुछ change आया है कि बहुत सारी other languages will also be introduced. Along with that, Sanskrit को एक importance दिया गया है. So, Rohan sir, what would you like to speak about it? About Sanskrit language introduction. Rohan sir?
Please unmute yourself.
Okay, I think Rohan sir is muted.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm so sorry. I did not notice it. Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes. Huh. So I believe Sanskrit is the ancient most language we have in our country. Many of the languages in our country have been originated from Sanskrit itself. So the grammar, which was written by Panini in the 4th century BC, till date, there are many languages and dialects in which we have been referring the book by Panini of Sanskrit as grammar for other grammar thing. So I guess there is somewhere an emotional connect of the language, but it is not only the emotional reason, but also the intellect. It is also the NASA which says that Sanskrit is the most important language in learning coding, right? So as Nadar sir said that from class 6 we have been introduced with coding thing. So Sanskrit is one of the basic language which can be very helpful in developing those things. And that's it. Yeah, this is what I can say about Sanskrit.
I suppose even till 5th grade, Sanskrit को तो introduce किया जा रहा है till 5th grade. I suppose the kids are allowed to use any language. I mean, they are allowed to go ahead with
Yes,
the mother tongue,
yes,
so that they can
yes,
have the understanding.
yes.
They can have the conceptual understanding.
They are allowed to study and read in the regional language. It happens at many places, you know, which are very remote and very rural. So there are a lot of people who are tribal and absolute rural people who do not connect to schools just because they are far away from the general and commonly spoken languages in our country. So they are allowed to study in their language. So हम बहुत सारे ट्राइबल्स, बहुत सारे रिमोट रूरल्स को भी एंकरेज कर पा रहे हैं कि वो भी आए और वो भी पढ़े. सो पढ़ाई हर भाषा में है. सो लैंग्वेज इज जस्ट अ लैंग्वेज. सो it can be so education cannot be connected to any particular language. So since ये लोग जो इन भाषा की वजह से भी बहुत सारे दूर रह जाते हैं पढ़ाई से, तो उनको एंकरेज करने के लिए, पुश करने के लिए हमने टिल क्लास 5 ये सारी चीजों को अडॉप्ट किया है.
Right. Thank you so much, Rohan sir, for speaking about the languages, the regional languages and the Sanskrit. Proceeding ahead, I mean, to talk about NEP, we have discussed in the broader understanding with the minute details as spoken by the speakers. At the same time, I suppose we can now go ahead to invite any of the doubts or questions from the audience to put forward to our speakers. So audience, here is the chance. If you want to put up any query or any question to our speakers related to NEP 2020. Okay, so there is one question that is more about the bachelors, like college students in NEP 2020. Rohit Sarji, can you please come forward to elaborate about the bachelor studies in case of NEP 2020 as asked by one of our audience?
So Harsha, as I told earlier also, that NEP has said that the student in their graduation studies can move towards more of a multidisciplinary approach. Now, if you see, because there are a lot of students from CA background, so I would just like to explain in that process that a student who moves from second year to third year, suppose they have a choice of taking options from 6 of the electives. For example, tax, banking, insurance, company secretaryship, and finance, whatever you can say. Now, what will happen is they will suggest not the specialization, but rather they will create a credit. And they say in a year, a student has to take at least minimum of 40 credits. And out of this 40 credit, 12 should come from the foundation, 12 should come from the advance, and 6 should come from any of the electives. So you are now giving a platter to a student with n number of combinations, where a student can pick and choose depending upon his understanding or where he or she wants to move. So for example, 12 foundation course I have taken, 12 credit foundation I have already taken now. Suppose 12 means accounting, advanced accounting, business organization, all those I have taken as a 12 course. Now I want to move towards the advanced. So I took taxation, and in taxation I took direct and indirect taxation, 2 papers. And then I thought with direct and indirect taxation, I should also study about the what you call cost accounting and amendment accounting also. So my combination becomes the taxation and accounting. And then I realized that with this taxation and accounting, company law is very essential for me to study. So the elective which I'm now going to choose, it means I have taxation, I have accounting, and now I have a company law. It is my choice to decide the combination based on the total number of credit I need to score. Earlier it was, okay, fine, you have done your first year, you have done your second year, now come into third year, pick anyone and go ahead. And I take in taxation because 90% of my friends are taking taxation. I thought it will be good combination. But when I moved 4 months into the taxation part, I realized, no, it is not my cup of tea. I should have taken banking. And there is no recourse for me to come back and take banking. This new education policy will give that process, will give that opportunity for a student where they can maneuver and find their own trajectory depending upon their interest and aptitude. And that is a welcome sign, and it will give a lot of choices for the students, which will become more of an informed decision by a student to move towards a specific field rather than given by the institution. So that is a welcome step into this NEP.
Right. So I hope your query is sorted. And looking up to implementation, so if I understand still more about the query of the student, to add on, अगर वो अभी 12th में है बच्चा, so next year when he goes to college, will he be available with this option of selecting, I mean, or else this credentials?
Harsha, I just want to add over here. I think first year becomes more of a common, which we call it foundation courses. And the changes which are going to happen is there will be no fixed subjects, but they will categorize as foundation, advanced, and electives. So they will give combinations, but they will say this is a foundation, and within foundation you still have a choice. So answering to your question, yes, I think institution now should move towards implementing the NEP in its letter, in its spirit, and start following that credit system which was designed some last 2 years back. And the students who are going to graduate their class 12 by 2021, I believe they will be giving that option. So need not to worry for them.
Right, right. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, look, there are so many queries, but so many concerns or questions in the chat box. We'll look up to some of them to cover the maximum we can. Age criteria for each level. Yes, Nader, sir. Can you please come forward to talk about the age level?
Okay. For the age criteria, if I have to tell the entry level age criteria, or I'll tell the total age criteria. The age criteria for the first class they have kept is 3 years. So that is how they have kept it. So 3 to 6 is the foundational ke andar, the nursery, primary, nursery, junior and senior. Then age 6 to 8 will be the 2 years. उसके बाद जो 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 का जो first 3 है, उसमें age criteria the cabinet has kept as 8 years to 11 years. उसके बाद the age criteria in the next 3 is 11 to 14, and then the last is 14 to 18. So this is the age criteria. So the entry age is 3, then 8, then 11, then 14. 3, 8, 11, 14. This is the entry age.
Right, right. Thank you, sir. Proceeding ahead with the next query. What about those students who are in 10th standard? Rohan, sir, can you please come forward to explain? Sir, you're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So am I audible now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So those who are currently in the 10th standard will be going with the same format what it is now. So only thing is that due to the COVID and the pandemic situation, since we have been not being able to open the schools, the syllabus could be cut down. The method of exam or the test marking system could be different, but the syllabus and the pattern and the books and the curriculum would be the same. What it is. Only it could be reduced. That's it for now.
So they'll be having the same pattern, right?
Yes, yes. For now, it will be the same.
Right.
It will take at least 10 years for like the whole proper application of everything. It cannot be done overnight. It's a huge population of 136 crore with this many minds, and everyone has his own idea, acceptance. Also, there were a lot of protests against NEP before. So no NEP and do not apply it. Propaganda was also thrown, but so it is not easy. So it will take time, but will be done. I guess in our country at today's time, we have maximum number of youth, right? If they are well educated, if they are taken good care of, then beyond any doubt, 21st century is going to be a century of technology. And by 2050, it is for sure that we will be world superpower with this wonderful NEP program, beyond any doubt.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for the answer. And yes, in total, सबको implement करने में it is going to take time, but the gradual implementation as spoken by the speakers have already been initiated, and of course, things are going to change, not overnight, but the gradual steps.
Yeah.
Yes. The next one, Will boards of 12th will be there in 2021? So I suppose, as said by Rohan sir, it applies same for 10th and 12th. So it will be applicable as of now if we talk about. Will the foreign universities will open their branch in India according to the regulations and system of Indian education policy? So yes, will the foreign universities have the chance? But I suppose yes, but we would like to hear from any of the speakers. Please come forward to justify the question के foreign universities यहाँ पर आ जाएगी India में.
It is there. If you see, there are a lot of education institutions who are already having a collaboration. What National Education Policy has said now that foreign universities are free to come, but that is only possible when they come with a joint collaboration. And you go back way 2008, 2009 also, there was a permission by that point of time the Congress government, and they allowed few universities to come into. For example, there was a university in UK called Oxford Brookes University, which was there in New Delhi. There was a Lancaster University working with Goenkas, and they were allowed. But the rule at that point of time that they can come and they can open their center. And center does not have any legal entity, so they have to collaborate with an existing institution. So like Goenkas, like IMT, Oxford Brookes University, they combined together and they said it was a degree together. Now they can come on their own with a majority of the shares and they can grant their degree. So that is very much possible. You can read that scenario in Dubai, Middle East, and you will see there's the American University in the Emirates, so an American University in Barbados. So universities are opening their campus in UAE because the government has allowed them to do so. Now that will also happen in India for sure.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Next is boards. Well, what about those who are in second year of graduation? So I suppose, as said by sir, we have already taken up this question as previously asked. And what about those, will the foreign universities, talking about the fees control, I suppose there is going to be the fees bracket, which will be charged by the, I mean the fees bracket will be there, जिसके अंदर वो bracket के दौरान उसके दायरे में रह के universities and institutions will be looking forward to charge the fees to the students, of course in consideration with the bracket, as I told, will come forward to. Next, what about those? Will NEP 2020 multidisciplinary part be implemented during the existing year of students who are in 2 years or last year of bachelor? So I suppose again this has been indirectly answered. जैसे रोहन sir ने बताया कि it is going to take time. The gradual implementation has taken in force, but then it will take time. Speakers, please correct me because जो question similar आ रहे हैं, I'm just answering as per you already answered. So wherever you find, you can add on and correct me to those questions which has already been answered. I'm just putting the highlight again to those.
Yeah, Harsha ma'am, I would just like to add one thing.
Yes.
That I can see that there are many parents and many students who are currently worried about the year in which they are studying.
Right.
I can see some questions, you know, because ultimately अपने पे क्या बीतती है वो उस पे सब लोग अभी ना उनके what will be the issue of my child. Right. Someone is asking, sir, I am already in second year of graduation. Someone is telling I am already in my 11th or 12th standard, so what will happen?
Right.
First of all, I would like to tell you there are currently 4 crore students in India in the age gap of 6 to 17. इतना तो दूसरे देशों का population नहीं है. So whatever is to be implemented in India, there will be a gradual transitional phase.
Right.
It cannot be like with a blink of an eye, within a twilight, it cannot be implemented. It will take time because government अगर इतना अच्छा plan लेके आई है, तो जल्दबाजी में it will not implement it. So there will be a transitional phase. So if somebody is in the second year or third year of your college, don't worry. Who knows, by the time it's implemented, you'll be having a degree in your hand. And all those who are in the second year of college, maybe they are thinking, sir, हमारा third year कैसा होगा? As Rohit sir ने rightly कहा था, not to worry about it now. अगर मान लो retrospectively government इसको apply कर भी देगी, तो भी आपने जितने subjects पढ़े हैं, उसके credits आपको मिल जाएंगे. So your credits will be definitely given to that. So those who are in particular year, for you it is one student, but for the government there are lakhs of students. So it will be definitely taken care by the authorities at the top, by the people who are in the top of the hierarchy, and the gradual subject detail, year detail will definitely will follow. Yes, sir.
Policy is never implemented, you know, by what you call taking into consideration all the backlogs also. So they will always be, so the students who are getting worried, they should not be, you will really graduate. Yes, when you will be moving to the next level, then there is a possibility that this policy will come into force for you, but not into your existing batch for sure.
Right. So I suppose, as said by CA Andrew sir and Rohit sir, they have covered good range of understanding of questions जो repeatedly कहीं ना कहीं इसी तरीके से आ रहे थे कि हमारा क्या. So I suppose that has been covered. So all right, I suppose we have covered a good range of understanding, and of course looking up to the queries of the audience have been looked forward to, and other queries have been sorted. So with this, let us conclude the session not just by the question answers we had, but then to add the spice to the entire question, let us go ahead with the rapid fire round as well. So before we come up to the conclusion, after having the good conversations and queries solution, let us now proceed ahead with rapid fire round. So rapid fire round से शुरू करते हैं. All the speakers, you need to be really rapid and spontaneous and interesting, and as I said, rapid, quick with your responses. So one by one, we'll go ahead with the rapid fire round with our speakers today. We'll proceed ahead. We'll start with Dr. Rohit Singh ji. So sir, are you ready for the rapid fire round? All right.
Yes, good.
Okay, so the first question, how do you handle the student who is constantly disruptive?
Just bring them into the process.
Bring them into process. Thank you. The next one, during your school days, what did you like about your school?
The education system.
The education system. Your teaching philosophy.
Your teaching and learning should reach to the last bench also.
We should reach to the last bench. Thank you so much. Best piece of advice you have been given about teaching.
About teaching.
Yes.
Make student a part of your learning process.
Make student the part of your learning process. Right. Biggest challenge to the vision of NEP 2020.
Integrating schools to the higher education in one framework.
Right. And the last one such example of feature which brings change in child's growth due to NEP 2020. We have discussed a lot, but to talk about one such thing which you feel that this will bring the change in child's growth.
Free progress.
Free progress. Right. Thank you so much, sir. It was a clear one-word answer which directly matches with the rapid fire round version. Proceeding ahead with Andrew, sir. Sir, are you ready?
Absolutely, ma'am.
All right. Favorite ice-breaking session with students?
Some topics related to communication.
Right.
Where we create a simulation.
Right. Favorite quote or dialogue on education?
Culture is the essence of education.
Culture. Thank you. Who helps you to bounce back with setbacks?
Probably family. Always.
Right. So one such example of feature which brings the change in child's growth because of NEP 2020.
Example of?
One such change which NEP has brought in, which will bring the change in child's growth compared to today's education.
And that is, NEP is focusing on art-based education and it is focusing on skill-based education. That is always better than the learning education.
Right. The next one, is discipline important?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Personal as well as the one which is imposed. Both are necessary.
Right. And the last one, biggest challenge according to you for the vision of NEP 2020?
Appears to be more theoretical. The implementation has to be really powerful.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really interesting with all your answers. Proceeding ahead with Rohan Roy, sir. Sir, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the first one example of feature which will bring the change in child growth due to NEP 2020.
Who creates more curiosity and imagination in a student?
Right. How do you stay organized?
I believe there is a lot yet to be achieved in being organized.
Okay. Biggest challenge to the vision of NEP 2020?
The biggest challenge, I believe, is connecting the parents with child and the teacher, and also the technology, I believe.
All right.
And more and more ethical teacher as well.
Right. The next one. Do you agree with this statement? You can learn new things only when you come out of your comfort zone.
Yes, I do.
All right. The next one. How do you create a sense of class community when you go inside the class to go together, to grow together? So how do you create that class community?
Can you please say that again?
How do you create a sense of class community when you enter inside
Okay.
a class to go
Okay.
together, to grow together with the students?
It is basically done outside the class, you know. So I try to connect with more and more students. Say we go playing cricket together, we go for picnics together, we go for any other thing they like, and we also play games on mobile together, you know. So the whole connection is created outside. So being strict, you can have the whole class quiet, but being respectful, you can have the whole class listening you. So it is very important to connect students and get that respect so that student listen you.
Right. In connection to this, the last question, how do you like to be greeted?
How I like to be greeted. Oh, so I love the sing song manner of the kid. The good morning, sir. That is the loveliest thing they do, and you know that energizes.
Right, right. Thank you so much, sir. So it was wonderful rapid fire round with all the speakers, where all the three speakers have been really transparent and rapid and interesting with their answers. Thank you so much, sir. So here we conclude our session on NEP 2020 speakers. It was really great listening to you. The clarity of different aspects have been sorted here, and I'm sure the students audience are more clear towards NEP 2020 policy now. So here we conclude the session talking about NEP 2020. अब वो नहीं होगा जो पहले होता था, क्रिपलिंग अबाउट द एजुकेशन, यार अपने स्ट्रक्चर में तो ऐसा है, अपने स्ट्रक्चर में तो वैसा है. अब चीजें बहुत बेहतर तरीके से बाहर आ रही है फॉर स्टूडेंट्स एंड टीचर्स, बिकॉज टीचर्स आर द लर्नर्स एज वेल. So as said by the speakers, सबसे ऊपर कुछ रहता है तो wisdom and knowledge. Of course, whether old pattern, whether old education system or new, अगर आपने wisdom and knowledge gain करी है तो आप आगे जरूर गए हैं और आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है. So here I would request CA Balkishan Agarwal ji to please come forward and speak few lines about today's session.
So thank you very much, CA Harsha Gangwani, and we are also very thankful to our all three speakers, Rohit ji, Andrew Nagar, and Rohan. They very well covered all the aspects related to the new education policy 2020. And the rightly said by the Nelson Mandela sir, education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. और जो हमारी गवर्नमेंट है वो इसी तरह के चेंजेस के लिए चेंजेस के साथ आई है कि हम उसको और बेटर कर सके. एंड द ट्रू पर्पस ऑफ एजुकेशन इज टू मेक द माइंड्स नॉट द कैरियर्स. तो इस पे बहुत फोकस किया है और रोहन ने जो इनिशियली मेंशन किया कि हमें काबिल बनना है, तो हमारी एजुकेशन ऐसी हो कि हम काबिल बने ताकि हम अपनी लाइफ में कुछ भी कर सके, एनीथिंग वी कैन डू. सो हमारे तीनों स्पीकर्स ने बहुत अच्छी तरह जस्टिस किया है and try to cover all the aspects related to that subject. इसके अलावा भी अगर किसी पार्टिसिपेंट्स के कुछ भी क्वेश्चंस हो, कोई भी क्वेरीज हो, तो हमारे जो स्पीकर्स है, हमारे जो डिग्निटरीज है, दे आर ऑलवेज रेडी टू सपोर्ट. और जैसे ही मैंने रोहित जी या एंड्रयू नाडर सर या फिर रोहन से इस सब्जेक्ट्स पे आने के लिए बात की, तो दे इमीडिएटली रेडी एंड दे सेड कि वी आर ऑलवेज रेडी टू सपोर्ट द सोसाइटी, टू सपोर्ट द स्टूडेंट्स. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच. और हर्षा, आपने भी बहुत मेहनत की है, बहुत अच्छे से क्वेश्चंस ड्राफ्ट किए हैं. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच टू ऑल ऑफ यू एंड हैंड ओवर टू हर्षा. या
थैंक यू सो मच सर. तो जैसे उन्होंने नेल्सन मंडेला का बताया, सिमिलरली डॉक्टर कलाम भी कुछ ऐसा ही कह के गए थे कि अगर education important इसलिए है to enlighten the human beings, and enlightening human beings is done through education. Education is one of the major way to bring about better students, better professionals, better human beings. So it's all about enlightening human beings, which comes through education. So thank you all the speakers to truly transparently bringing the clarity to the aspect of NEP 2020.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you, Balkishan ji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, all the organizers.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Right. Thank you so much. Audience, you have been really interactive with your queries and your responses as and how the speakers went through their through the understanding of NEP 2020. So here we conclude the session. So all the speakers, are we ready to conclude the session?
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am, absolutely.
All right. All right. So here I end up the meeting. Audience, you were great. Truly looking up to your innumerable messages in the chat box through your responses as well as through your queries. So thank you so much. Balkishan ji, should we conclude and end the meet here? All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, speakers, Rohit ji and Rohan ji. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.